Hello, hello, welcome to the show. This is Hack Hunter, where we review some of the best and worst tattoo artists in your cities. Now, this is part number 2 of our Grand Rapids, Michigan episode. So if you haven't seen part number 1, we found a really cool artist out there, really unique style. Definitely go check out part number 1 if you haven't. But you know, while we were out there, I had to send the team hunting, and here's who they found. Enter David Annable. You can find him working at Paint for Sale there in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Kind of a silly name if you ask me, but we come across a lot of silly names. On Facebook here, it's called The Original Paint for Sale 2. I don't know if there's a Paint for Sale 1. I don't know if there's a fake Paint for Sale. I don't know what's going on there, but that's how you can find them on Facebook. Do not click their website link because they did not pay the bill, so it doesn't work anymore. But if you want to find him on Instagram, Dave the Tattoo Guy on Instagram. Always do your own research, guys. But let me show you the highlights. Bam! Oh, look at this. And what scene was it in Star Wars where Darth Vader was standing up with the busted helmet doing the Captain Morgan here? I don't recall this scene, but I also don't recall him looking so etchy and just scratchy and weird. I can see what he's trying to do here, okay? This to me looks like an artist who's attempting to do stipple shading and just doing a really poor job of it. Just look how blotched and uneven all that looks. In the leg armor here, look at that. Just random scatters of dots. There's no real attempt given here, I don't think. No real effort put in. Right here, he's trying what we call the pendulum technique, swinging back and forth with your liner, but he just did a really lazy, fast job of it, and that's why it looks all streaky and half-assed like that. Here's another version of glitter that he attempted to do, but again, just really half-assed. I zoom in here, you can see how many empty spots there are, which shows he was just rushing through, just putting a lot of dots in there, trying to kind of get it done quick, just putting random dots of white in weird places that don't really make sense. Like his eyes shimmer in 2 different places, right? That wouldn't really be happening in that regard. But yeah, all the line work in there really just muddies up these leaves. The whole thing just misses the mark for sure. And this is something I saw throughout his portfolio, just taking generic sort of general tattoo theme ideas and really kind of missing the mark on them. Look at this eyeball here. Really poor job at realism. He attempted to give it some like tears here, but it just looks like some sort of weird eye condition. It didn't really come across that well. And so I think he, again, really missed the mark, especially on the glare on the eye. I mean, you got to zoom out pretty far for that to look even halfway decent. Now, a lot of his work, especially the bigger work, it looked okay when zoomed out, but man, you got to zoom in, guys. How many times have I said it? You got to zoom in, and you can see just line gaps where lines are missing. You can see how blotchy that shading looks and how wiggly all of these lines are. Look at how wiggly all those lines are. On the banner here, you can get away with a wiggly line or two and just say, oh, you know, it's an old banner, right? It's a wavy banner, right? But then when I see those kind of wavy lines throughout everything, it's like, are we looking at this picture through a tank of water or something? They're all just so wiggly. And this is an artist who claims to be doing it for 30 years, okay? And I mean, I take him at his word because we've seen plenty of artists 20 years in, 30 years in, and they just lose their touch. Here's another example of that weird etchy shading, only this time it doesn't look like stippling. It looks like he was doing it with his shader. This is supposed to be hands underneath here, but just look at how weird and clumpy that looks. Really hard to discern crisp detail in here. It's strange that he shaded so much of the wings, but then outlined just the top tufts of the wings. That's really sort of a lazy technique. And then these light rays just look really kind of blurry and odd. They lack a certain crispness, a certain clearness that you would hope that they have. You can see he tried to layer some clouds in here, but it was just a really lazy attempt. This one, oh my god, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this old guy wanted some weird skull in his chest like this. Maybe he did exactly what the guy asked for, but I still think he did a really kind of blotchy job. Look at that. It just lacks, again, a certain kind of crispness or cleanness that you would expect to see from a refined artist. And I'm not even going to mention this guy's really small nipples. And then his portrait work here, again, something you shouldn't be doing when you got an artist that really likes to just kind of rush through things, get things done, has a sort of simple technique, outline, simple shading, simple outline, simple shading, over and over again. That is not the kind of artist you want it to do your portrait. Give him props for trying it on dark skin. Portraits on dark skin are really difficult, but he absolutely could have done a much better job. And here's exactly what I've been talking about this whole time. He's doing all this small detail in here, but look at just how jumbled and dark that is. When I go up to this chain here, this is what I'm talking about. He shaded the chain with the exact same tone that he did the shadow under the chain. And so it all just blurs together when I zoom out. It might as well have just been a black line right there. There's no point in doing all those chain links if they're all going to just blur together. And I zoom in on these cogs. Some of them are spiky up here, pointing at an angle. Some of them are just rounded off down here. I mean, if you're going to try that fine line detail, you gotta have your fine detail down. You got to care about all that fine detail. Don't just put a bunch of small lines in there just to say it's fine line. Really missed the mark on this one. And one of the last ones I'll show you is, if you're wondering how his larger work turns out, really kind of blotchy, muddy. He used way too heavy lines on all of the wings here. Just, Yeah, really, really strange. I don't know. I don't think I really have to say much. You guys can see it just looks too heavy dark. It's possibly a cover up in there. Maybe that's the reason why I did it so muddied up and so oversaturated here. But yeah, it just looks blurry to me. This is the only one I'm going to give him a little bit of props on. This one actually looked okay. I do realize that her skin has a sort of unnatural glow, so he most likely enhanced this photo to make these colors brighter. I'm almost certain of it. So be wary of that, guys. You can always see in photos when people's skin have this nice glow to it, it usually means it was enhanced for color. And so I'm sure all this color did not look that vibrant with when it was healed or when it was done even, because compared to the rest of his work, it does not look that vibrant. So I'm sure this one wasn't either. Also, fair warning, guys, if you want to put a tattoo on the ditch of your arm, that's what we call this bend right here in the arm, be warned that any sort of thin lines, and you can see it here, they get blurry. You see that? You really need an artist who's got their application technique down, because otherwise you end up getting this sort of blurring and blotching. These lines look a lot wispier, and so I give him a little bit of props there, but he just went way too harsh, too deep, maybe too fast on these lines, and they blurred and they don't look like the same line weight as everything else. So even though that was probably the best tattoo I saw out of his portfolio, there's still a lot wrong with it. So David Annable from Pain for Sale there in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I think you guys know what it is. He goes on our hack list. Go check out part number 1 if you haven't. But before I go, guys, I really wanted to warn you about another one, the runner-up for Hack of the Week. This guy, Gregory Lewis, he is at Forever Ink Tattoos. This was another one I thought was worth warning people about. So if you got some free time, go check out his artwork. It might be worth it. All right, we'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.